This army general, Naaman, was used to pomp and circumstances, living with the elite in a privileged status. He had no royal blood himself, as a king might have, but he was just one notch below royalty in terms of importance. Naaman was the commander of the mightiest army of his day, the Syrians, also known as the Armenians, and they were then the potential enemies of the Hebrews. As commander of the army, he kept royalty on their shiny thrones, and he was highly respected by the king he served. With all that honor and prestige, there was only one flaw, but one huge flaw. He had leprosy, Hansen's disease, the dreaded disease of biblical times. Leprosy is not a nuisance disease. Just watch your diet, take a few pills, get more exercise. No, leprosy is a disease that transfigures and then cripples and then causes death. What a huge stroke of bad luck. Just when he was enjoying the fruits of his labors, having worked his way up the ladder, being away from his family for long periods of time on these adventures of the king, and now brought down by his leprosy. The disease obviously would progress, would make him more and more grotesque. He would avoid contact with others more, and soon he would disappear from public view. So he would ask himself, what good is it for me to be rich and powerful if I cannot flaunt it? If I cannot show it? If I cannot strut about? And imagine his rage that then turned into depression as he tried all the Mayo clinics of his day and nothing could be done for him. So no wonder he jumped at the possibility that some obscure prophet over in Samaria perhaps could cure his disease. His wife's servant girl, a captured Israelite, offers him this slim possibility, and Naaman responds like a man to a life preserver. Naaman doesn't travel light when he goes to see this new prophet. 30,000 pieces of silver, 6,000 pieces of gold, 10 changes of fine clothes, Arabian horses to pull his chariots, and this retinue of servants. Remember, Naaman is used to dealing at the top. You never play from weakness, you always play from strength. This healer, whoever he is, needs to know that Naaman was somebody big. And so you need all these trappings of power and wealth. Well, the unnamed king of Israel was certainly impressed when Naaman comes to ask for directions, so much in awe that he goes into cardiac arrest. For this man has brought with him a note, a letter from the king saying, "You will heal this man." And the king has no way to heal this man. He is convinced that he's being set up to fail, that this is just a pretext, an excuse for the king of Syria to invade the kingdom and have him pay tribute. But just before the king of Israel falls on his sword, Elisha, the new prophet here, the man of God, comes to the rescue. He says to the king, "Send him to me, I will show him that there is still a prophet here in Israel." So this is the picture. Imagine a very wealthy, important, powerful man, his uniform adorned with a chest full of service medals, making his way down this dusty road to the humble cottage of Elisha. This is a sick man who happens to be rich, meeting a poor man who happens to be well and has the ability to make others well additionally. Well, Elisha doesn't even come out of his house to greet Naaman and his entourage when they arrive. He just sends out a messenger. Maybe he didn't want to be dazzled by the wealth and power that was before him, or maybe he wants to test this man to see how serious he is about wanting to be well. So he sends out the messenger, "Go, wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh will be restored, and you shall be clean." Well, Naaman has watched enough healing stories on cable TV to know that's just not the way it happens. Where are the cameras? Where are the staging, the theatrics? Where is the healer dressed in a white jumpsuit, dressed for all of the regalia that would be necessary? Where's the electronic music building up to some kind of a crescendo? None of that. Wash in a second-class river, maybe even a muddy river, 7 times? You've got to be kidding. What a wasted trip. What a huge disappointment. The second wealthiest man in Syria is supposed to stoop down, wash in a common river 7 times to be healed. Just as he is wheeling around and leaving this meager prophet in the dust, he takes the advice of his servants. "We've come so far, sir. Why not go ahead and just try it? Maybe it won't do anything, but, if you were going to be asked to slay a dragon, you'd try to do that, or accomplish some feat of valor. Try the river. Yeah, a second-class river, maybe even a muddy river 7 times. It can't do any harm, can it?" So reluctantly he goes down to the river, washes 7 times, and amazingly, he is healed. His skin becomes firm and flesh is healthy again, and he is a whole man religiously again. No more hiding behind layers of cloth to mask his condition. He is entirely wholly a man again. And he's overwhelmed. He knows that this Elisha, who he had never met before, has powerful connections. In fact, Elisha has connections with powers he never knew back home. Something strange is happening here. Well, in his world, you get what you pay for, and Elisha must be paid. Would 30,000 pieces of silver and 6,000 pieces of gold and 10 changes of fine clothing be enough? More than enough, Elisha says. For God's gift of healing is not to be bought or sold. He will accept nothing. Well, Naaman insists that he will give them the gift, and Elisha insists he will not receive it, and Elisha wins. God's healing is a gift not to be purchased, and now Naaman doesn't know what to think. He has found healing in the most unlikely of places, washing in a muddy river in Israel. The man who had the healing happen refuses to be paid. He will not take a profit from this obvious gift that he has. Certainly, Naaman thinks, the God of the Israelites must be strong medicine. One Naaman must now take seriously. He decides to ask for 2 loads of good dirt from Israel to take back home. The reasoning perhaps is that if the power of God is in the water of the Jordan River, perhaps the power of God may also be in the dirt around Elisha's house. He'll take it back home, pile it up. The dirt will be this constant reminder of the God who healed him, who made him well. He will not forget what happened to him. The dirt will remind him that this new God works great and awesome miracles, and it comes through obedience and patience. The dirt will remind him that he too is dirt, common stuff, no matter what rank or position of power, and that life has meaning, in fact, new meaning, when lived in relation to this God who has touched his life in this powerful way. In God's system, all God's children are equally valued and loved. All need healing and care, and each can be loved into wholeness if they will come under God's realm. As I think about the story, it seems to me that Naaman's healing would have been incomplete if he had not asked for those 2 loads of dirt to take back home. You see, outward healing may be relatively easy compared to inner healing, soul healing. Naaman now has a reliable center to his life, not based on military achievements or political honors, but the knowledge that God is at the center of his life. That pile of dirt outside his home will be this constant reminder that finally God is the only consideration of his life, his new life. That only God counts in sickness and in health. Only being a part of God's will of blessing and wholeness will make the difference from that day forward, and every day will begin with this reminder of what happened at the Jordan. So friends, the question is, what is your equivalent of Naaman's pile of dirt? What visible symbol reminds you that you are a child of God, uniquely created in God's image, with God's breath within you? What reminds you that God has a claim on your life, and that you will find the deepest meaning of your existence on this earth when you live with God at the center of who you become? And what is it that reminds you of your healing into Jesus Christ that makes you now eager and willing to live your life as a disciple, a follower of this Jesus who offers life eternal? Amen.